This is the City Hotel located in Castle Rock, Colorado. Built in 1870, originally in a town a few miles to the north of Castle Rock by the name of New Memphis. In the late 1860s, Douglas County had two potential locations for a county seat. One was New Memphis, and the other one was Castle Rock. New Memphis was being developed as the county seat by a guy by the name of Harris, and Castle Rock was being developed by another guy by the name of Wilcox. They were both, at the time, good alternatives for the county seat. Douglas County was primarily cattle ranches. New Memphis or Castle Rock were just where one could obtain some services. As time went on, the water situation in Castle Rock was better than it was in New Memphis, and eventually the railroad ended up putting in a depot here in Castle Rock instead of New Memphis, so it made more sense that Castle Rock became the county seat. John Harris built the hotel for Thomas Harris as the first hotel in New Memphis. They moved to this building and a couple of others that don't exist any longer to Castle Rock. The north end of the City Hotel was the original structure, and the south end was added on later. City Hotel was nicknamed the Blue Collar Cowboy Hotel, and the Owens House, which was built later, was basically the White Collar Hotel. Perry Street was the main street of Castle Rock, and it only extended 4 or 5 blocks long. So when the railroad came into Castle Rock, they located the depot between 3rd and 4th on Perry Street. The City Hotel is a half a block to the north of 4th, and the Owens House is a half a block south of 3rd. So basically, when you got off of the train, if you went left, you went to the Owens House, and if you went right, you went to the City Hotel. They were the only 2 hotels in town for somewhere between probably 25 and 30 years. The cattle drives and all of the passenger freight all ended up between 3rd and 4th on Perry Street, which is why the hotels and the feed stores and the grocery stores were all located on Perry Street. Harris was purportedly deaf in one or both ears and was walking down Perry Street headed south from the City Hotel, and about at the corner of 4th, a steer that had been spooked by some event on Perry Street gored him in the back, and he died 4 days later. On his deathbed, just hours before he died, he quitclaimed the City Hotel to his wife. His wife then sold part of the City Hotel to her nephew, and then they operated the City Hotel together for a relatively short period of time and then sold it to someone else. There were many, many owners. The majority of them owned it from somewhere between a year and 4 years. Wilcox owned it even for a brief period of time. There wasn't a whole lot of development in Castle Rock from 1870 to the early 1900s, so the City Hotel mostly lived off of the ranchers and a few passengers from the train that overnighted in Castle Rock. Whenever I buy a historic property, the first thing I do is research the history of it, because oftentimes the history will tell you exactly what you should do with it today. The City Hotel and the Keystone Hotel served pan-fried chicken, and it was a big Sunday afternoon special. So when we opened up Castle Cafe, we thought that this was the right market to serve a pan-fried chicken, and to that end, we have become relatively famous for our pan-fried chicken and have won several awards with Westward Magazine. What was good 100 years ago works again today if it's thought about correctly. Well, the City Hotel was and is a 7-unit apartment building. When I purchased it, it didn't have the front porch on it any longer, and basically hadn't been painted in years, and the roof was in poor repair. So we applied to the town of Castle Rock for a matching grant, which is co-funded by the state lottery. And we repaired and painted the exterior of the building and added a porch that was similar to the original porch that was built on the building when they moved it here from New Memphis. Historic preservation has several categories of designations that go along with it. You can either designate them a local significant structure or a national historic structure. And in the case of the City Hotel, We designated it a local landmark until we renovate the inside of the building. We need to determine what kind of structural issues, if any, there are, and how plumbing and mechanical and electrical can be adapted to a 2000 renovation. Historic preservation isn't about the past, it's about the present. The art is how you take a building that was built 100 years ago and put it back into service and utilize it well again today. They weren't designed for today's uses, and so you have to spend a little bit of more time and creative energy to utilize space that was designed for smaller tenants or smaller rooms or whatever. There's plenty of places for the strip malls and shopping centers, but to be able to preserve the tradition and cultures of a community by renovating these buildings is a thrill. We've renovated the Keystone Hotel, and we'll do the City Hotel soon, and the buildings that we've built here on Perry Street and on 3rd Street represent some form of the traditional type real estate. They also give something back to the community. It's a great irony that the original main street of Castle Rock was Perry Street, and now in a way it is again. I think you have to have a special sixth sense about historic preservation, as if you had been there before.